So before we got sidetracked on this whole Michael Jordan's my best friend thing, I want to talk about Pablo, who's taking this investigation into Jordon / Belichick to another level. So we remember the video of Belichick leaving this house with no shirt on?
I listen to it every day.
Right? Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly.
Why was that a big deal?
Well,
it's great audio.
It's great audio for one. But for another thing, they keep trying to deny, right? And Pablo, when he came out with that story and they said he was wrong and false and all that stuff, he came with a very cryptic message like, yo, don't let me go back into the archives and pull some more.
Well, here's why it was a question, right? And I didn't get this either. Yeah. It's like, why, if it was, as it was reported, that this was Jordon's house, then why would she leak the ring cam footage, right? Ah, that sound. Yeah. That's why I just listen for a second. But so why would she leak the ring cam? It all seems pretty contrived. Right. And then, so this is where Pablo kept doing some digging.
Kept doing some digging, and guess what, guys? He done dug. Let's let him tell you.
Doug Funny?
Not that Doug.
Okay, I was about to say, Jeremy.
Exclusively for the first time is the other video.
Oh, my God. Oh!
He has a satchel.
Yeah, it's got a little merce.
A work bag, right?
He is very shirtless.
Let's go into
He has like a leather
It is a
satchel.
key, isn't it?
Okay, so he's still topless. Absolutely yum delish.
Great. A bag with a leather strap that he's clearly not figured out how to tighten because it's looped in a way you definitely wouldn't be choosing.
At this point, I decided to take a trip.
You went to the town.
Shut up, Pablo.
You've been to this
Shut up,
house?
Pablo.
If you show me a ring cam video with you.
Pablo!
No!
Pablo, what the fuck?
Pablo at the house.
Pablo, what the?
This is crazy. This is crazy. I don't understand what.
This is the craziest part right here.
I don't understand what podcast
Is this Truman
this is.
Show? Is
What
this
is
World
that?
Truman Show?
Where are we?
What's going on?
Recreation of the Belichick ring
Oh
cam
my
video
God, what's
by Pablo.
going on?
But he's wearing clothes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
He should have done it
didn't
shirtless.
commit. Yeah, coward.
Okay,
Yeah,
I need
this
a
is
lot
why he
of
has an Emmy.
answers now.
He should have committed.
That's
Pablo
crazy.
is a crazy person.
That's
man.
that's insane.
Level of
I was never in on this story. It bothered the hell out of me because it's just like, man, why do we need to go inside these personal lives of these folks, regardless of, how many generations of gap there is between them? But Pablo got me into it. And I don't know if it was just the little detail of he's the highest paid public employee in the state of North Carolina.
Which, by the way, that's standard in most states that the highest paid employee is
Right.
the football
But don't
coach.
tell me he wouldn't be as intrigued if he was still working for the private New England Patriots and had this situation. But then, the idea of this person that we've known for so long as the do your job guy, the no distractions guy, is bringing a heck of a distraction with him to UNC. And then on top of everything else, despite the fact that she is doing all these things, like basically controlling all of his interviews, she's still denying things that are being reported, still sort of mocking Pablo because he retweeted somebody who said that Pablo needs to get a hobby when Pablo reported that she's been around the Patriots since 2021. Mm-hmm. And so when they're denying all this stuff, trying to mock him, you think that's going to make Pablo want to do more reporting or less reporting?
If you think that this story is interesting, you have to listen to this episode of Pablo.
Yeah, I don't want to give too much away.
Because he talks, he goes, obviously, we just saw, he goes to this Airbnb, he talks to the owners, he interviews them about Belichick and Jordon being there. It's just very interesting. They didn't even recognize Belichick at first. They were like, is this
He's got a couple of gotcha moments where they sort of deny something, and he's just like, nope, there's evidence that this is true.
That's
not violation of HIPAA.
They speculate.
Laws?
I mean, maybe they didn't. They weren't revealed. Like it was. They did it anonymously.
So
what's the HIPAA law on what we're looking at here?
We don't have Airbnb HIPAA laws.
No, they said to their the owners of the place said that
BS,
in the description there is a line that says there are ring cams outside, so you're aware.
Yeah.
So you will be recorded in that situation.
This is my thing about this whole thing, right? Like, if we were dealing with a case of like, pick someone else, right? Like, pick anyone else who doesn't have a public nature of their relationship, right? Mm-hmm. Then it's different, right? Like then it's like, hey man, you guys are, but they open the doors, they come look at
Bill
my
Belichick
private
goes
life.
from the most private person ever to doing weird photo shoots and putting that out on social.
And you're thinking, how did Pablo figure out where the Airbnb was? Where, like, there must have been some insight. They essentially found it. Maybe I'm giving away too much. Go watch the
Go watch
episode.
the episode, yeah.
But
Goodness.
they found it from the comments. Like, she gave a review of the Airbnb. That's how they found where the Airbnb was, by just like, someone named Jordon on this date wrote, great spot, very,
Like,
good deal.
here's the deal. Like, you kind of are courting this, right? They court it. They look for it, and this is where it's found. You know what it's like? It's like when Britney Spears. I watched that Britney Spears documentary, and she was complaining about, like, man, I went to Starbucks, and then I'm like, baby girl, you can't go to Starbucks anymore. Did they not tell you that? Like, you've reached a point where going to Starbucks, someone goes to Starbucks for you. You don't go in the drive-thru anymore. Same thing here. It's like
No, you got to call him baby boy.
Baby boy. Hey, baby boy.
Well, and the difference here is, like, these are grown adults, right?
Yeah.
So, like, Britney
Tyrese.
Spears, she was a young
She was an adult.
girl.
She was an
well, no,
adult.
by the time that happened, sure, but
Yeah.
she was a young girl by the time she was granted celebrity.
She never
was on
got the
Mickey
chance
Mouse
to
Club.
make the decision.
She never got a chance to make the
Right.
decision. These are two people who have actively made the decision in their adult lives. This is what we want to bring on. We want to bring on this public spotlight. And people are going to have questions and go down a rabbit hole, particularly if you have a complicated relationship like
It's not
this
even.
one.
It's not that it's complicated. To me, like, the age is like the least of it.
Oh,
To me,
yeah.
it's at Belichick. It's the least of it.
It's
'Cause
where
to
it
me,
started.
It's at Belichick.
Yes.
Has
I don't know if
always
it's the
been
least of it.
It's the least of
we're
it to
talking
me.
least.
To me,
19 and 60.
Here's where, to me,
She's
this
not
is where
19.
the question marks come in.
not 19.
Any relationship,
She was.
okay, she was 19.
In
We're all
2021.
2021
We're all
she was.
19 at one
any
point.
relationship you have, what are the first questions? One of the first couple questions. Hey, how'd you guys meet? And of course, you tell
What's
the
your favorite
story
cereal?
usually, right? When you shut that down immediately, we're not going to talk about that. It sounds sketchy.
Who's your
It
favorite
creates
character on Doug?
questions.
This is why I think it's particularly weird. It's because Belichick has always been this fortress. You can't get to know this dude at all, right? We hear stories like, oh, he's actually really funny. We don't know that. His players know it because he's always been inside. So now all of a sudden, the most secretive man in the sport, I'm seeing his whole life. Of course, that begs questions. The other part of it is when you get. This is what I've learned, man. When you get caught, just like, hey, man, you got me.
Mm-hmm.
The protesting and you don't know what you're talking about. Turns out we do know what we're talking about. That's the part where you ask the question. You think that's gonna make Pablo report more, report less?
I think
it's one thing to be like, yeah, man, but this is kind of an invasion of privacy. In which case, I think Pablo would probably get shamed and back off. But when you say you're wrong, that ain't true, Pablo's like, oh, you don't think it's true? Oh, you want to see this? Like that?
I'm going to go recreate the video.
Exactly.
He should have been shirtless.
What a
right?
Can we agree that
Easily,
Pablo's a
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
That is a
good
He's not a
journalist.
He's an
great journalist?
Most journalists are.
Great journalist. But
Yeah.
yes, he's a dick.
Just so smug walking through that house.
Oh,
like
the turn and wave.
Wait till this drops.
The turn and wave.
Like,
Exactly.
so obnoxious.
I can't wait for this shit to drop.
Wait till we transition from the BTS view right to the ring cam.
I don't want to give away
Shit's
too
gonna
much,
knock.
but I want to say I feel like this isn't even the most insane level of research he did for this episode.
yeah, it's great.
There's
it really
another
is.
level of something that he did that'll just make you say, this dude's crazy. Because taking a trip to a nice little, spoiler alert, beach town in Boston, not that difficult, especially when you know you're going to get that, right?
It's a
But when you do
small
the other thing that
She
he did
definitely
later in
picked
the
that
episode,
Airbnb.
A really small Airbnb,
Dog,
by the way.
That's not the area I would
Hawk.
expect Bill Belichick to be in his
Hawk,
Airbnb.
there's so much of this that's
It's just outside of Boston,
there's
apparently.
so much of this whole thing that always screams to me, small time trying to do big time things.
Well, I think she's
She-
young.
she-
and
of
I'm not
course,
trying to
Leaving
make any
reviews with your name,
Small
like that
time
is
trying to do big time.
You don't.
things.
You don't know the game, and
Doesn't
she's
know the
like,
game.
it's like, okay, Bill Bel, and she's convinced this older gentleman, and I don't want to make it sound like Bill Belichick's a victim. That's not what
He's
I'm
not.
insinuating.
He's not
But
a
she's
victim.
like, okay,
Let me
no,
tell
in
you
this
about it.
in this world, you have to have a public image. You need to be using it. This is how you get the opportunities. And so now he's like, all right, I'm gonna give it to the expert. But the expert is 24. So when she eggs on Pablo, you don't realize it's like a kid, like when they're lying and they're like, I think
Doubling down on the
this will
lie.
get over, and
Yeah.
they're 12, and you're like, I've been 12.
But that's
Okay,
also
this
been
is-
the strategy.
This is easy to see through, and here's why, because I've done this a million times. Pablo and her, it's like, oh, you don't think I can go get more information?
Hawk,
Let me show you.
This is why I say it's small time trying to do big time things, because the mentality, the strategy through all of this is kind of like what Instagram influencer I've got 300,000 followers would do. But she doesn't understand or doesn't or refuses to understand that like he has something that's bigger, and that's what a lot of the like what I find younger generations right now, they can't imagine, right? Like it's the type of people who say like something like, oh, Sabrina Carpenter is the biggest star there's ever been. I'm like, dog, you haven't seen Michael Jackson. When I tell you like, yo, people were fainting. They were fainting at his shows and crying and ripping their clothes off. And like you don't know what that looks like because your metric for fame is followers. I got a bunch of likes and follows and all that. And it's like, so that's the kind of thing. She's approaching it from a very like Instagram famous thing, which is like, yes, you do leave a comment on the thing because that's how that you gain the clout. Like, ooh, but you don't understand. No, man. We don't leave paper trails around here. We don't wear Jordans from the finish line like rack or whatever.
I've been searching your Jordans for the last 10 minutes and have not found them.
You can't find them.
The Mosquito Valentine ones.
SP1, nothing showed up. I think you're lying.
I'm not lying. Hold on.
All right. Well, no, you keep the show going. Don't
Yeah,
search.
well, I wanted someone
You're
else.
in the main chair. We got to.
All right, so
Go for it.
So to all of that, I say, look, man, when they got you, the easiest play for her from the beginning was this is a gross invasion of our privacy. Like, look, we're private citizens. We're allowed to post on Instagram. We're allowed to like any different from you or whatever. This part where you dig into my life, it's kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah,
that's the way you do it. Not that's true, because then of course you're gonna catch.
We're not talking about this.
But if you're trying to be famous, right? Like
That's
she's
the other
doing all the
problem.
things that she's doing to try and get famous. You leave a review on an Airbnb website when you don't think you're going to be famous 5 years from now. And then all of a sudden, 5 years from now, people are looking back and saying, oh, this is the Airbnb because you said this and this and that.
And the idea of just like, what's the point of lying? Never mind that, like, okay, you don't want to talk about it because they met when she was 19 and it might be a little weird. But you're going to get exposed if you lie about it because I'll say, look, I'm just going to say it. I'm sorry, Pablo. He went. There's actually cameras, fan cams at these Gillette Stadium, where if you put in your seat number for a game and a date, you can get a high-res image of you, and so that means that there are cameras everywhere you go, everywhere, and that's sort of what got her busted as being associated with the Patriots from 2021. So it's not even about you.
Pablo finds out now that you stepped on his episode. I can't imagine what he's going to do to you in his next episode.
But yeah, look, it doesn't even matter so much what you do to expose yourself. Like even that review. If you're doing things that are wrong or are inconsistent with the truth, it's going to come out if you're a public figure because of people like Pablo.
Yeah.
They're the MA2s, not SP1s.
Okay, yeah.
That was so different.
So in the know.
Entirely different numbers
different
and letter
number,
combinations.
different letters.